A single yes on a government form should never cost you $100,000 in retirement. But right now, hidden inside the official Social Security application, there are 6 trap questions designed to legally and permanently reduce your monthly payout. If you are planning to file for your benefits in 2026, or even if you already have, you are stepping into a financial minefield. The Social Security Administration is not a financial advisory firm, and its representatives are not legally obligated to maximize your benefits. Their job is simply to process your paperwork exactly as you submit it. Unfortunately, the way their questions are worded can easily trick a perfectly intelligent, hardworking person into giving up thousands of dollars a year. Today, I am going to walk you through the 6 most dangerous trap questions on the Social Security application. We are going to cover exactly what these questions look like, why they are so deceptive, and exactly how you must answer them to protect your lifetime income. I will show you the exact math for 2026, including the new earnings limits, the brutal penalty thresholds, and the irrevocable decisions that you cannot undo once the paperwork is processed. Make sure you pay close attention to the final trap I share with you today, because it is the single most counterintuitive mistake I see, and it regularly costs divorced retirees the largest amount of money. The first trap you will encounter is one of the most tempting offers the government will ever make to you, and it usually appears if you have waited past your full retirement age to file. It comes in the form of a simple, friendly-sounding question. Would you like us to pay you up to 6 months of retroactive benefits in a single lump sum? For a tired retiree, this sounds like an absolute miracle. It sounds like found money. Let us say you were born in 1959, which means your full retirement age was exactly 66 and 10 months. You decided to wait until you were 68 to apply so your monthly benefit could grow. When you finally sit down to file your application, the screen or the representative offers you a lump sum for the past 6 months. In 2026, with the maximum benefit at full retirement age sitting well over $4,000, a 6-month lump sum could be a check for $25,000 deposited directly into your bank account next week. You might instantly think about remodeling your kitchen, paying off a stubborn car loan, or taking that dream vacation you have put off for 40 years. So naturally, you say yes. The moment you say yes, the trap snaps shut. The government is not giving you a bonus. They are making a highly calculated trade. By accepting that lump sum, you are legally changing your filing date. You are telling the Social Security Administration to backdate your application by 6 months. When they do that, they wipe out 6 months of the delayed retirement credits you worked so hard to earn. For every month you delay claiming past your full retirement age, your benefit increases by 2/3 of 1%. 6 months of those credits equals a flat 4% permanent reduction to your lifetime monthly benefit. Let us break down the devastating math behind this trade. Imagine your expected monthly benefit was supposed to be $3,500. If you take the retroactive lump sum, you lose 4% immediately, dropping your ongoing monthly check by $140 a month. Over a single year, that is $1,680. But it gets worse because of how the cost of living adjustment, or COLA, works. In 2026, the COLA adjustment was around 2.8%. COLA does not add a flat dollar amount to your check, it multiplies against your base benefit. Because you permanently lowered your base benefit by saying yes to the lump sum, every single future COLA increase for the rest of your life will be mathematically smaller. Over a 20-year retirement, that missing $140 a month compounds, costing you tens of thousands of dollars in lost income. Furthermore, you are not just making this decision for yourself. If you are married, your Social Security benefit might become your spouse's survivor benefit if you pass away first. If you cut your own benefit by 4% today, you are permanently cutting your widow or widower's income floor by 4% for the remainder of their life. When you model this out over a 30-year household timeline, taking a $25,000 lump sum today could easily cost your family over $100,000 in total lost lifetime income. The actuaries at the Social Security Administration know this. They offer the lump sum because on a macro scale, it saves the system money. The only time you should ever say yes to retroactive benefits is if you have received a terminal medical diagnosis or you are facing an immediate, desperate liquidity crisis where you face bankruptcy or foreclosure without that cash. Otherwise, your answer must be an emphatic no. Now ask yourself this: have you ever blindly clicked agree on a digital form just to get to the next screen? We all do it with software terms of service, but doing it on the Social Security website triggers the second trap. This question seems incredibly straightforward, but it has the power to accidentally slash your monthly check by up to 30%. When you are filling out your application online, you will come across a checkbox that asks, do you want your benefits to begin in the earliest possible month? To the average person, this sounds like a processing question. It sounds like you are saying, yes, please do not delay my paperwork. Start my benefits as soon as you process this application. In reality, the Social Security Administration interprets this question completely differently. To them, this question means, I am willing to accept the maximum age-related reduction I am legally eligible for, even if it permanently cripples my retirement income. This concept is known as deemed filing. Let us look at the 2026 rules. For anyone born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is exactly 67 years old. If you apply at age 62, the absolute earliest you can claim, you will take a severe 30% reduction to your monthly check. If you apply at 63, it is roughly a 25% reduction. Every single month you wait between 62 and 67 mathematically increases your payout. Imagine you have carefully planned your retirement budget. You decided you want to retire in October, right after you turn 64. You go online in July to fill out the paperwork early, being responsible and giving the agency plenty of time to process your claim. You see the question, do you want your benefits to begin in the earliest possible month? You click yes, thinking it just means they will process it efficiently. Because you were legally eligible for benefits back in July, the system will instantly backdate your claim to July instead of October. You have just accidentally claimed your benefits 3 months earlier than you planned, locking in a permanent lifelong reduction to your monthly check that you never intended to take. To avoid this disaster, you must never let the computer dictate your timeline. When you reach this section of the application, you must explicitly bypass the earliest possible month option and instead choose the option that allows you to manually type in the exact month and the exact year you want your payments to begin. If you accidentally fell for this trap recently, you have a very narrow window to fix it. The Social Security Administration allows you one lifetime opportunity to file a withdrawal of application, known as Form SSA-521. However, you can only do this within the first 12 months of claiming, and you must repay every single penny you and your family have received from the agency before they will reset your record. It is a massive financial burden, which is why it is vastly superior to simply check the correct box the first time. Imagine opening your mailbox on a random Tuesday, expecting a utility bill or a magazine, and instead finding an aggressive letter from the federal government demanding you repay $12,000 within 30 days. That terrifying scenario is exactly what happens when people fall for the third trap question. The application will ask you, do you expect your earnings to exceed the annual limit? This question trips up thousands of early retirees every single year because it requires you to estimate your future income while misunderstanding the brutal mechanics of the Social Security earnings test. In 2026, the earnings limit for someone who is under their full retirement age is exactly $24,480. If you claim your benefits early, say at age 63, and you plan to keep working a part-time job or doing some consulting on the side, you are stepping onto very thin ice. The question asks if you expect to exceed the limit. Many people say no, either because they are overly optimistic about cutting back their hours or because they simply do not understand what counts as earnings. But the Social Security Administration does not operate on the honor system. They actively cross-reference your file with the IRS. Every W-2 and every 1099 you generate is sent directly to their database. If you earn even $1 over that $24,480 limit, the penalty is severe. The government will withhold $1 of your Social Security benefits for every $2 you earn above the threshold. Let us say you claim your benefits, but your old employer begs you to come back as a contractor for a few months. You end up earning $44,480 for the year. That is exactly $20,000 over the 2026 limit. Because the penalty is $1 for every $2 over, the Social Security Administration will penalize you $10,000. Here is the truly devastating part. They do not send you a polite bill asking for $50 a month on a payment plan. They utilize a clawback system. They will simply freeze your monthly Social Security checks entirely until the $10,000 debt is fully recovered. If your benefit is $2,000 a month, you will not receive a single deposit for 5 straight months. Imagine relying on that money to pay your mortgage or buy groceries, and suddenly your income drops to zero with almost no warning. To survive this question, you must understand exactly what the IRS considers earnings. The earnings limit only applies to W-2 wages and net self-employment income. It does not include pensions, 401k, withdrawals, capital gains, dividends, or rental income. If you are going to continue working, you must answer this question truthfully and proactively update the Social Security Administration if your income changes mid-year. Do not wait for them to find out in April of the following year when you file your taxes, because that is when the massive overpayment letters are triggered. Also, be aware that in the specific year you reach your full retirement age, the rules loosen slightly. In 2026, the limit for the months prior to your birthday jumps to $65,160, and the penalty drops to $1 withheld for every $3 earned. But the core lesson remains: a simple no to this question when you are actually working will trigger a financial nightmare. Before we get to the fourth trap, I want you to pause for a second and think about how much the cost of living has changed since the early 1990s. The price of gas, groceries, housing, and healthcare has skyrocketed to levels that would have been unimaginable 30 years ago. But the government has intentionally frozen one specific set of tax numbers since 1993, creating a stealth tax increase that leads directly into our fourth trap question. Do you want voluntary federal income tax withheld from your benefits? When you are reaching the end of your application, you are tired. You have answered dozens of questions about your work history, your citizenship, and your family. You see the word voluntary next to the word tax, and human nature takes over. Most people think, I already paid taxes on this money when I was working. I am not volunteering to pay more. So they confidently check the box that says no, believing they just protected their income. In reality, they just armed a financial torpedo that will detonate the following April. Historically, Social Security was completely tax-free, but in 1983, Congress passed a law taxing up to 50% of benefits for higher earners, and in 1993, they added a second tier that taxes up to 85% of your benefits. To determine if you owe these taxes, the IRS uses a formula called provisional income. Your provisional income is calculated by taking your adjusted gross income, adding any non-taxable interest like municipal bonds, and then adding exactly 1/2 of your annual Social Security benefit. The trap exists because the income thresholds for this tax were set in stone decades ago and were never indexed for inflation. To hit the 50% taxable bracket, a single filer only needs a provisional income of $25,000, and a married couple filing jointly only needs $32,000. To hit the brutal 85% taxable bracket, a single filer needs $34,000, and a married couple needs $44,000. In 2026, a married couple with a modest pension, a small required minimum distribution from an IRA, and standard Social Security benefits will effortlessly shatter that $44,000 threshold. Almost everyone in the middle class is now taxed on their benefits. If you check no to voluntary withholding, the IRS does not forget about the tax. They just wait to collect it. When April 2027 rolls around, you will hand your documents to your accountant, and they will inform you that you owe thousands of dollars in federal income taxes. But it does not stop there. The American tax system is a pay-as-you-go system. If you wait until the end of the year to pay a massive tax bill, the IRS will hit you with an underpayment penalty. You are punished for not paying the taxes throughout the year, all because you misunderstood one single checkbox on your application. To dismantle this tax torpedo, you must take control of your withholdings. You cannot easily do this online after the fact. You must download and print IRS Form W4V, which stands for Voluntary Withholding Request. On this form, you are allowed to select a flat withholding percentage of 7, 10, 12, or 22%. You fill this out, sign it, and mail it to your local Social Security office. By proactively withholding the taxes, you smooth out your cash flow, avoid the terrifying April surprise, and completely sidestep the IRS underpayment penalties. The fifth trap question involves a completely different government program, but answering it incorrectly on your Social Security application can cost you thousands of dollars in unnecessary premiums or trigger aggressive lifetime penalties. The question is incredibly simple. Do you want to enroll in Medicare Part B? Because Medicare and Social Security are both entitlement programs for seniors, millions of Americans assume they are the exact same thing, managed by the exact same rules. When you apply for Social Security at age 65 or older, the system automatically tries to bundle you into Medicare. Medicare Part A, which covers hospital visits, is generally premium-free for anyone who has worked for at least 10 years. But Medicare Part B, which covers doctor's visits and outpatient care, comes with a monthly premium. In 2026, the standard Part B premium is well over $180 a month, and it is automatically deducted from your Social Security check. If you have a higher income, the IRMAA surcharges can push that premium to over $500 a month. Here is how the trap catches you. Scenario 1. You are 66 years old, applying for Social Security, but you are still working full-time for a major corporation that provides excellent health insurance. You see the Medicare question and think, sure, I am over 65. I guess I am supposed to take this. You click yes. Because you already have comprehensive employer coverage, you have just signed up to pay thousands of dollars a year for duplicate, redundant health insurance that you absolutely do not need. Over the next 2 years, you will throw away over $4,000 in premiums for a Part B policy that acts as a secondary payer and provides almost zero actual value to you. Scenario 2 is even more dangerous. You are 66, you are still working, but you work for a small local business with only 15 employees. You see the Medicare question and you say, no, I already have health insurance through my boss. I don't need to pay for Part B. You click no. You have just triggered a catastrophic gap in your coverage. By federal law, if your employer has fewer than 20 employees, Medicare is legally mandated to be your primary insurance provider, and your employer's plan becomes secondary. If you decline Part B and then you get sick and go to the hospital, your employer's health insurance company can legally refuse to pay your medical bills, claiming that Medicare was supposed to pay first. Because you declined Medicare, you are left holding a $100,000 medical bill entirely on your own. Furthermore, if you say no to Part B and you do not have what the government considers creditable coverage from an employer with 20 or more employees, you are accumulating late enrollment penalties. For every full 12 months that you were eligible for Part B but did not enroll, the government tax on a 10% penalty. This is not a one-time fee. This 10% penalty is permanently added to your monthly premium for the rest of your life. If you wait 3 years to sign up, your Part B premium will be 30% higher every single month until the day you die. To navigate this trap, you must know your employer's exact headcount. If you work for a company with 20 or more employees and have active coverage, you can safely answer no to Part B and enroll later using a special enrollment period. If your company has fewer than 20 employees, or if you are fully retiring and losing your job-based insurance, you must absolutely answer yes. We are about to cover the 6th and final trap. This is the one that breaks my heart the most, because it disproportionately affects divorced individuals, particularly women, who end up leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars behind simply because of one misunderstood checkbox. But to understand why this trap is so devastating, you first need to realize that the Social Security Administration does not automatically cross-reference your marital history unless you explicitly force them to. The final trap question asks, are you claiming benefits only on your own work record? To understand the magnitude of this question, we must look at the rules surrounding divorced spousal benefits. If you were married to someone for at least 10 consecutive years, if you are currently unmarried, and if you are at least 62 years old, you have a legal right to claim Social Security benefits based on your ex-spouse's earnings record. This is an independent entitlement. It does not matter how long you have been divorced. It does not matter if your ex-spouse has remarried. It does not matter if your ex-spouse hates you and you do not ever need their permission or cooperation to claim this money. Yet, when divorced individuals fill out their application, they frequently fall into the trap. The application asks for a history of previous marriages. Many people intentionally skip this section, or they check the box stating they only want to claim on their own record. Why do they do this? Some do it out of pride. They want nothing to do with their former partner and want to stand on their own 2 feet. Others mistakenly believe that if they claim on their ex's record, they will reduce their ex's monthly check, or they will take money away from their ex's new spouse. Let me be perfectly clear. Claiming a divorced spousal benefit has absolutely zero impact on your ex-spouse's payout. It has zero impact on their current family, and the Social Security Administration does not even notify your ex that you are drawing on their record. Let us look at a real-world scenario to see the math in action. Consider a woman named Linda. Linda is 67, her full retirement age. She was married for 15 years before getting divorced 2 decades ago. During her marriage, she stayed home to raise the children while her husband built a lucrative corporate career. Because she entered the workforce later in life, her own personal Social Security benefit is only $1,200 a month. Her ex-husband, however, was a maximum earner. His full retirement age benefit is $3,800 a month. If Linda checks the box that says, yes, I am claiming benefits only on my own work record, the Social Security Administration will do exactly what she asks. They will look at her tax history, calculate her benefit, and send her $1,200 a month. They will not ask questions. They will not search for her ex-husband to see if she could get more. The trap closes, and she is locked into a life of financial struggle. But if Linda answers no, provides the dates of her marriage and divorce, and presents her marriage certificate and divorce decree, the entire picture changes. Under the law, as a divorced spouse, Linda is entitled to 50% of her ex-husband's full retirement age benefit. Half of $3,800 is $1,900. The Social Security Administration will first pay Linda her own $1,200, and then they will add a $700 top-up from her ex's record, bringing her total monthly income to $1,900. By simply answering the question correctly, Linda gave herself a $700 a month raise for the rest of her life. The stakes become even higher when we factor in mortality. What happens if Linda's ex-husband passes away? Even if he was remarried to someone else, Linda is considered a surviving divorced spouse. The rules dictate that a surviving divorced spouse is entitled to 100% of the deceased worker's benefit. Her income would instantly jump from $1,900 all the way up to $3,800 a month. That is a life-altering amount of money. But none of it happens automatically. The government does not track the marital status of every citizen in real time. If you do not volunteer the information, if you do not explicitly demand that the agent run the calculations on both your record and your ex-spouse's record, you will be paid the lower amount by default. One simple yes to claiming only on your own record can literally cost you $500,000 over a 20-year retirement. Let us briefly recap exactly how to protect yourself when you sit down to file your application. First, never take the lump sum retroactive payment unless you have a critical, immediate need for cash, because doing so permanently reduces your lifetime monthly income and punishes your surviving spouse. Second, never let the computer system pick your earliest start date. Take control and manually type in the exact month and year you want your payments to begin to avoid maximum age-related reductions. Third, memorize the 2026 earnings limit of $24,480 and never answer no to the working question if you plan to hold a part-time job, or you will face ruthless clawbacks. Fourth, do not ignore the tax torpedo. Proactively fill out IRS Form W-4V to voluntarily withhold federal income taxes so you do not get hit with underpayment penalties next April. Fifth, investigate your employer's health insurance headcount before you blindly check yes or no to Medicare Part B, saving yourself from redundant premiums or lifetime penalties. And finally, if you are married for at least 10 consecutive years, never claim only on your own record without first demanding the agency calculate your divorced spousal benefits. I want to hear from you. Which of these 6 trap questions surprised you the most? Or have you already encountered one of these confusing situations when dealing with the Social Security Administration? Leave a comment down below with your experience. Your story could end up saving someone else in this community from making an irreversible financial mistake. I read as many comments as I can, and your insights truly help all of us navigate retirement safely. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.